Yeah.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
And hi. Oh, good. You can hear me.
Yes.
Hi. I see my panelists are here. Chloe is here. Euro is here. Brittany is here. I just don't see Josh. Is Josh here? Hmm. I'll give everybody a couple of more minutes to get into the room before we start officially. Um, Last minute technical things. I just want to make sure that we've got our last speaker also. He might be joining the call a little bit later, so that might be okay. Let's give it one more minute. Oh, we have a nice turnout.
How many people are we expecting today?
That's a good question. I don't know. We don't have any like RSVP or anything for this, but so far we've got 79 people already, so that's seems pretty good.
Exciting. Like
Yeah,
going
and
to
I'm
student college.
well, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but whether it's in the zeitgeist that you're also a part of, but it's become quite the thing now, the whole college prep thing.
Oh, you don't say.
That's, I've heard through the grapevine. It's like all the rage these days.
I can see why.
Yep. And it's nice. I am actually really proud to be participating in this because I think it's nice that um, I didn't set this up, so I get to brag about it. But our PTO president was really into trying to provide a lot of college prep courses that are provided through the PTO to the schools so that you didn't have to go far to get some of your information that you needed. So it's nice. I'm really happy to be moderating tonight's event. Okay, I think that I'm going to get started because I want to have maximal time for all of the wonderful speakers that we're going to have today. Uh, Hi, everyone. My name is Yasi. I am going to be moderating the meeting today. I am on the PTO board here at Carnegie Vanguard High School. I'm very excited to be with you today, and thank you all for showing up. We have some good program laid out for you. We already have 92 people joining and counting. So thank you. And we'll just start for the sake of time, but just so everybody knows, this is being recorded and we'll be providing the link to the recording after for anybody who wasn't able to meet and virtually now and or wants to look at it again later. All right, so we have a nice agenda. We're going to hear from a couple of our senior students about their own experiences when they were going through the process. And then we are going to have a wonderful speaker to tell us about study abroad programs. And then we're going to end the meeting with a college prep um, guide who is going to tell us about how he prepares students for this very important phase in life. So, without further ado, let me introduce our two lovely senior students who are currently seniors at Carnegie. We have Chloe Tran and Yuruo Shen. And I'm going to let each of them just give you a little bit of an introduction about themselves, and then I'll open up the chat to a few questions. And if nobody else has questions, I have a couple of questions for them, so don't you worry. All right, about yourself.
All right, then I can start us off. My name is Yuro Shen. I'm a current senior at Carnegie, and I will be attending Northwestern in the fall for economics.
Hi, I'm Chloe
Wonderful.
Tran. Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm Chloe Tran. I'm gonna be a Rice University freshman this coming fall studying business.
Congratulations to both of you. That's very impressive. So you guys are seniors now, and you have made it. You've got your college acceptance, and now you get to lay back and give some advice to some of our younger students and parents who are starting to get a little nervous about this whole process. So, on this call are mostly freshmen and sophomore parents and students. So, if you don't mind, we'll go in the same order that you were introduced. We'll start with Euro and then go to you, Chloe. Let me ask you guys a couple of questions. I'll do it in reverse, and then I'll look at the chat. One question I have for you guys is, looking back, what's one thing you wish you had done earlier in high school, especially during the summer? Euro.
Ooh, I definitely wish I'd explored my options more. Of course, I was lucky enough to find that I was pretty interested in economics and business, but I feel like I found out too late that you can find professionals to shadow, which means that you can just follow them around for a day and see what their career looks like, an actual day in their life. And I wish I could have done more of those so I could get a better picture of all the different careers out there.
And Chloe, you tell me yours too, and then I have a follow-up.
Yeah, so I think one thing I wish I did more, like leading up to like at least junior year for sure, is a bit more self-reflection. I think one of the important things about your college application is that you showcase the best version of yourself and how much you've grown from your freshman year or even before up until when you apply. And I think it took me a lot of time when I was doing my college app to really think about how much I've grown when I could have, let's say, documented the process beforehand.
She is
That's
so
really good.
right.
Euro, you have something that you would add to that? You think you would have done the
I
same thing, more
would.
self-reflection?
Yes, absolutely. There was so much more self-reflection in the process than I thought there would be. And it was less about it was a lot of getting to know yourself. And I do wish that documentation was something I'd done a lot more. Like every time I had achieved something, overcome something, or failed at something, that I'd maybe written it down and noted what I learned from it. That would have been really helpful for my resume and my essays, especially.
Oh, that's very good advice. That's really good advice. And as far as your shadowing that you were talking about, you think you would have done that in your freshman or sophomore summers? You think you would have started that early?
Yes, because in freshman, sophomore year, at least definitely for me, I had no idea what I was going to do in the future. So I just made it my priority to kind of figure out what choices were out there. And I think I would have liked if I could actually seen what the jobs looked like on the job.
Yeah, that sounds really like good advice. Okay, so I have another question. What advice would you give parents about supporting their students over the summer without adding too much pressure? Because I think as parents, we struggle with like not being on you guys all the time, but also somehow helping, you know, helping guide you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, is it
It ver
helpful for parents to really kind of step in and find things for you? Do you want them to be finding, do you want them to be finding internships for you? Do you want them to be on you to get stuff done on time? What do you think, or what helped you with your parents?
Hmm. For my parents and I, we had to find a bit of a middle ground. It helped a
Mm,
lot more once all of us got more familiar with the college process and our goals. But at the beginning, it was a lot of going in the dark, and part of that would be doing what everyone else was doing. So then my parents would sometimes be like, hey, your classmate here is doing that. Maybe you should do that. But after we got the goals in line, it was helpful that my parents could, well, help me find opportunities, like you said. Although I didn't do that too much, but I have heard of a lot of my classmates utilizing their parents' connections and their acquaintances to find opportunities for themselves.
okay, that's good. Thanks. Thank you. Chloe, do you have anything to add to that or?
Yes, I definitely do. So Euro did mention parent connections, and I do think that really helps. But I it might be in a different situation because I have an older sister that went through the college app process first, and so my parents were a little bit more in the know. But even with my sister and I think there was a sense of trust fostered between our parents in relation to our college process and us. There should be some sort of like, or there should definitely be encouragement and giving your kids the opportunities to utilize the connections that you've made in order to get yourself internships or certain activities or to pursue certain interests. But also, I think it does get a little much if you do remind your kid a little too much and it just builds pressure and pressure is the last thing that you want during your college app.
Thank you. That makes total sense. Let me ask you guys. I wish I could talk to you guys for this whole meeting, but I am going to kind of quickly go through, even though you have wonderful advice, just for sake of time. But let me ask you a parent question in the chat. How did you make yourself stand out at Carnegie when everyone is a top student?
Hmm. Well, it is true that everyone's a top student, but everyone is also themselves. And it, since you're unique, you can use that to advantage and do different things. The
I like
Rice
that.
shuttle bus, the Rice shuttle buses, there's a motto written on them. Do you guys know what it is? Well,
No.
2 words. It's called unconventional wisdom. Well, this can be interpreted in a lot of different ways, but one way you can think of that is doing, thinking out the box, learning things from places that people would not usually think to learn from, or just doing things different from the norm. So, yes.
I like that.
Chloe, you
Thank
have
you.
anything to
Thank
add?
you. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Chloe, anything to add to that?
Definitely. I also agree that it's really easy in the college app process to make your application seem so similar to not only other top students at Carnegie, but to all the top students in the nation. And so I definitely think bringing personality to your essays and even the type of extracurriculars you do or your interviews is a really good idea because admissions officers definitely want to see that behind what could be, for some cases, a robot that's just trying to get the best grades or have the best ECs, that there's a person that they know is going to bring spirit and life into the college environment.
Wonderful. I love that. I completely agree with you. I think that if I were going to give advice, having two kids now at Carnegie, one a senior, I would completely go with you guys. Like you can stand out just by being yourself. And I think that more and more people are looking for that, including admissions officers. So thank you so much. Okay, one last quick fun question. Each of you, what's one favorite thing you did in the summer that you thought, I mean, yes, it added to your application, but it was also just like something unique and enjoyable that you did.
I have a bit of a tie on this one. First off, it seems a bit, maybe it seems planned, but I actually did CIEE, the study abroad program, and it was a very special experience for me because I got to spend 1 month seeing what it was like living abroad in Spain and practicing my Spanish skills. And that was pretty transforming because it was my first time being independent, and that made let me learn a lot about myself. But one other thing that like fights with how special the experience was I did a volunteer program in Dallas called Camp Camp, which is a summer camp for kids with disabilities. But my job there was as a volunteer personal caretaker. So I personally took care of a kid with a disability for a week. And I learned a lot about myself, about his world, and it was very eye-opening. So I would highly recommend this experience. Just be warned, it's very tiring and requires dedication.
And for me, I also have two ties as well. One of them is actually very similar to yours. So I was a summer camp counselor for a nonprofit that works with disabled kids and adults of all ages. And we basically run a summer camp for them, help them with their motor skills, and just interact with them. And so I wrote about that in one of my essays, yes, but not only about the kids that we took care of, but also the fellow counselors that I worked with and how I got so many different perspectives by doing the same job as them. And then another, I guess, not really unconventional, but a little more carefree thing that I love to do over the summer is play volleyball with my friends. And while I might not have written about it in my college application, I do think it helped me write about volleyball in general, which is one of the things I wrote about.
So the
I also,
bottom line is,
sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, you go.
Okay, I'll go ahead. I saw a question in the chat. What are all aspects that are considered by colleges during the college app process? And one thing that you can look up for different schools is called the common data set. So I know a lot of the top schools, or basically every school, should have a data set from previous years that says their admissions rate for that year, the type of demographic, and their gender distribution. But it also has a little table that says how important they rank things. And for most schools, it's like very important extracurriculars, and then maybe a higher importance like GPA. But it can vary on the school, and it will also include whether or not interviews are important, but it can vary on the school.
If anyone is curious, here's the Rice Common Data Set. You would go in and then click on the 24-25. It's a whole PDF. But section C, C for cat, I believe goes over the different aspects of the college admissions that this school really prioritizes. Mm, yeah, so things like the rigor of your school classes, your class rank, academic GPA, test scores, essays, recommendations. That's all the academic stuff. And then the non-academic, Rice University has an interview, which they consider, but they think very important are your extracurriculars, talent, ability, personal qualities, and then they also take into account some other things. So you can definitely go in there and take a look at each different college and what they prioritize.
It seems like whoever's hosting the meeting has been muted or left for a little. So if there are any other parents that have questions for me and Euro, we're happy to answer.
The very bottom line is that over summer or just during the school year, you should be doing something. Even if that's just simple studying, reading books, exercising, especially I'm speaking for summer activities. As long as you're doing something, it's okay. We have a question in the chat. This is, when did you first start your internships? Chloe, did you do an internship?
Yeah, I did a pharmacy internship starting in 10th grade summer. It was a little bit during the school year and a little bit during summer break, but I also am a big proponent of you don't absolutely have to have an internship, like Euro said,
Mhm.
just have to be doing something that enriches your summer experience. I
See,
saw a question that says, will this all be repeated come junior year, the assistant with basic college apps? Unfortunately, can't answer that because we are not part of PTO, but I'm sure it will. And when you're in your junior year, you also get some counseling from the college counselors at Carnegie that help out a lot. Maybe like with finding opportunities, if you reach out to some of the specialists or from the counselors directly, they also help out with scholarships, which is pretty useful. And then someone else asked, how can we find this opportunity for internship? So I found out about my internship opportunity through my parents. And I know some other people found out by looking up online internships for high schoolers. And there are some
mhm.
platforms that allow you to filter by like how old you are for internships and stuff. I think it's decently easier to find internships for STEM focused fields, like if you want to intern at a hospital. But I think it'd also be useful to email people you know, like either teachers or specialists in their field that you or your parents might know, to see if they have any opportunities over the summer.
Absolutely agree. What kind of summer activities did you do? Hmm. I can start with this one. So I did mention I did CIE and Camp Camp, but for the beginning, I started off with different summer programs like creative writing or economics. And the economics program is actually where I started being interested in economics. That would be the foundation for teaching economics. It's pretty good. On top of that, I did a lot of volunteer community service over the summer as well. I think this is very important for self-development, and it also contributes, it's one of your graduation requirements for high school, so do make sure you're getting your volunteer hours. Chloe, is there anything special you did over summer?
Yeah, I mentioned I did summer camp counseling for a nonprofit with disabled kids. I think that was my biggest summer activity for sure. And I also did a pharmacy internship over the summer. And then over the summer, I also played volleyball. It is technically considered summer because we do start our preseason and tryouts before the school year started, but I was on varsity volleyball. Someone else asked, what did you wish you did in your junior year that you didn't do? I think like the documentation and like just writing stuff and thoughts down to help track your growth was good, but I also think I probably should have started my college list a little earlier. Definitely not, definitely not like what I want my essay to be about because what I wrote about in my essay actually came at the end of my junior year. But definitely what type of environment you want to live in and like if you're not sure what you want to major in, how flexible is the school? Because I think I'm I don't know about Northwestern, but Rice is very flexible and in terms of like doing interdisciplinary studies. And so I think that was a really important factor for me. But I think as a junior, you do also have to understand that you yourself as a person is going to change and how well do you know yourself to make those decisions that far ahead. Euro, do you have anything that you wish you could do?
I do more or less. I kind of didn't know what the college application looked like until the summer before my senior year. And after looking at it, I had a better idea of just what colleges are looking for. As in, there were a lot of activities that I did over high school that actually didn't make it onto any of my college application material because it just didn't, either it didn't fit in or it didn't match my major. There's like an activity maximum that on the common application of 10 activities. So since I spread myself a little bit thin over sophomore year, those activities didn't get a spot on the Common App. So junior year, I do wish I'd actually like looked at the essay prompts a bit earlier. But I would like to follow up with Chloe's suggestion or Chloe's recommendation on looking at schools, and for me specifically doing the research into different schools. Because as Miss Brittany said in the chat, the schools do want to know why you're choosing their particular school. It's and even better if you can write an essay where the college admissions officers can picture you on their campus. Clearly, drawing a picture there, that would really hit home why you like their school. And part of being able to do that is learning about their school, the opportunities they have there, classes, different professors. If you can point out different courses or extracurriculars or professors you'd like to learn from at their school, it'd be very helpful for essays.
Yeah. I think earlier in the meeting before the panel or me and Euro got started talking that one of the next things that you guys would be talking about is study abroad opportunities, if I'm not mistaken. And there might have been something
Yes.
after that.
Brittany, would you like to give your presentation?
Yes,
So we have a
sorry.
guest here today coming with an exciting opportunity. Please take the floor.
I would love to. Sorry about that. I was just finishing up my message in the chat. Let me just share my screen. I don't know if I have the ability, but let's try. Okay, share. Screen one. Okay, y'all are seeing my slides?
Yes.
Thank you. Alrighty. Thank you so much for having me here today. Sorry so much for the technical difficulties. I'm Brittany. I'm with CIEE. We are a study abroad organization with 100 different programs in over 40 global destinations. I am a HIC alum. I actually went to Bel Air, which is a world languages magnet. I'm very familiar with Carnegie, and I actually got to visit um, a couple of weeks ago where I met Euro for the first time. As she mentioned, she is an alum of our program. Um, but yeah, thanks so much for sharing a little bit about your experience. I had a very similar experience to her. I studied abroad twice in Spain. I first studied abroad in Cádiz, which is very southern Spain, and then I returned to Madrid. Was there for about a year teaching. Um, but yeah, I received two scholarships to study abroad, and it was a really enriching experience for me as a young person. The first time I studied abroad, I lived on the beach. I went to school on the beach. I took two courses that allowed me to get ahead in my college courses. Um, and like Euro said, I did gain a much better understanding of who I was as a person, and it really did shape my career trajectory. Not everyone is going to be like me, but studying abroad and being from Houston just really gave me that international mindset that I'm really passionate about sharing with other kids. So I went into international education as a career field. Um, and I'm really passionate about expanding access to study abroad opportunities for young people. I guess a little bit more about myself. I'm a Gilman and Fulbright scholar. I went to UH first, and then I went on to get my master's in international affairs at UT. So you might be able to tell that studying abroad has really shaped my academic and career path. But enough about me. I'm going to share a little bit about studying abroad. And how your students can take advantage of that opportunity during the summer. So just a little bit about what a day in a life looks like. Um, as I already shared a little bit, students will be taking one or two courses in the morning. Then they'll have lots of time to explore, meet new people, and they might not know it, but they really will be getting ahead in just college applications. They'll be gaining critical thinking skills, problem solving skills, and gaining independence, just like Euro said. Getting a better understanding of who you are as a person and what you want to do in college, what you want to study. And I know a lot of y'all are parents of freshmen and sophomores, and that this opportunity definitely exists for them as well. Um, yeah, many of our students are actually younger, so they get a head start. Um, and with junior year and I'm sorry, sophomore, junior, and senior year just gets filled up with like PSAT prep, SAT prep, and then college app prep. So students do like to go a little earlier to get that out of the way or supplement it with their internship experience. Um, but in addition to taking courses in the morning, students have the opportunity to experience a homestay. Um, I'm sorry, experience a homestay. So they'll have a host family they'll be taken care of by some host parents. They might have host siblings. So they'll be really getting the opportunity to practice their language skills if that is what they're interested in. If you see in my slide deck here, um, while studying abroad, or people usually have the idea of studying a language when they study it abroad. Um, there are also opportunities out there through us and through other organizations where you can really dive into a topic. So let's say your student is really interested in engineering and robotics. That program exists in Japan through us. Let's say they're really into art history. They could go to many places in Europe to study art history and put that in their college applications that they really dug into this topic and they're prepared to study this topic in college. And this program really inspired them, changed their interests, made them more interested in this topic. And that's why they want to go to your school, which has the best art history program uh, to build on this interest. Um, let's move on from this slide. Um, just a little bit more about the benefits of studying abroad. I see some questions in the chat. How do I make my students stand out? Studying abroad as a high schooler definitely makes your students stand out. I'm pretty sure that is one of the reasons that Euro got into one of the better schools in the US, right? Um, Only 2% of high school students study abroad. So that's a really small number, and we are really interested. I am personally really interested in increasing that number just because of how much it changed my life. Um, some things that you would be able to put on your college application is that you earn the Global Seal of Biliteracy, which shows colleges that you have a certificate stating that you are bilingual. You could also get ahead on college credits, like I shared before. And something that I almost forgot to mention is that Carnegie this year there are already, I believe the number is seven students now who are studying abroad with us this summer, and they've earned more than $15,000 in scholarships. Okay. Um, moving on. Um, Something cool about our programs as well. Once you are an alumni or alumnus of our programs, you have access to our college access program. I don't know if Euro ever got to take advantage of this resource, but uh, we host monthly webinars with top colleges, so you can reach those admissions officers directly and ask any question you want. So, for example, what types of essays are required to get into your school? Um, what are you looking for in a college applicant for your school? Things like that. But I don't want to take too much of your time. I think there are other panelists. I just wanted to give a brief overview of uh, my experience with studying abroad and how it could really benefit your students. Thanks for your time. Let me know
Um,
if y'all have other questions.
Brittany, thank you so much. I have to apologize for having left my internet cut off and then refused to get back on. I had a whole intro prepared for you and everything. So I really apologize, but thank you so much for that presentation. I'm back now.
Yeah, Carnegie students
So
are top students, as they've stated, and they handled it very well.
oh, thank goodness. I was like, I cannot believe this is happening right in the middle of everything, but I'm glad that the rest of the meeting kept going. And thank you so much for that
My
very
pleasure.
nice presentation. I will ask you a couple of questions, if it's okay with you, that are actually coming up in the chat. One of
Sure.
the questions is it hard to get into a study abroad program? Is it difficult?
I would not say so. I would say that earning a scholarship can be competitive for sure. Like the college application process, we require a couple of essays. I think Euro could speak to that experience more directly. For me, I don't know. I got to go twice on scholarship. And what made it easier for me though is having previous scholarship essays ready to use as templates for future experiences that I wanted to experience. I'm sorry, that was redundant. Future experiences I wanted. So, for example, my first study abroad experience, I used those essays as a template for my grad school applications and for my second study abroad application. I just tweaked it to share new and more recent experiences that I had under my belt.
But this is specifically for scholarships, right? Is it hard to get in, like just generally, even if you're not relying on a scholarship for that?
No, it's not.
It's not too
I know,
difficult.
yeah, at my university, they had faculty-led programs, and I just had to sign up. And I think there were some prereqs or requirements like I couldn't be on academic probation or anything like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for that. And then actually this question is another question from a parent. Is it too late to apply for summer of 2026, basically this summer for a program?
Um, for our organization,
For
CIEE,
yours. Yes.
I'm so sorry, but the application deadline just passed a couple of days ago. But our we have a June 1st deadline for students interested in more long-term programs. So if you're interested in like a semester abroad or a gap year or a college first year program, students have until June 1st to pursue that. Uh,
Okay, great.
yeah, applications open back up June 1st for summer 2027. So I definitely encourage students to get a jump on that so they get like a better chance of earning bigger scholarships for next summer.
That's great. Thank you so much. Actually, because we have to cut you short, even though I'm sure everybody could talk about this for much longer, do you mind sharing your contact information in the chat? whether it's the website or if people need to ask questions after this meeting or get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Sure. I'm going to share our
Okay.
email address. You can get in touch with our enrollment coordinators to get more information. We also host monthly webinars for parents interested in more information, and I will be dropping contact information in the chat.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you so much. Before you go, okay, I will ask you one final question so that I've asked every question that's at least on the chat, which is you said earlier that you both studied abroad and you taught abroad. The question
Mhm.
that I have from a parent is, did you teach abroad before you went to college, or this was after?
The teaching abroad was through the Fulbright program,
Okay.
and one of the requirements was that you had to graduate from college already. So that
Okay.
was after I finished college, but I had to start my application for that uh, my junior year of college because it's a government run program.
Okay, that's wonderful. Congratulations. Thank you
Thank,
so much. That was very helpful.
of
I hope
course,
everybody enjoyed that. And then hopefully parents have your contact info and can get in touch with you after. Thank you, Brittany, very much. Okay, now just for the sake of time, I'm going to introduce our next presenter, Josh Prater, are you on the call? Um, It's one of those days where I think it's a full moon. Uh, Let me just make sure that uh, oh, um, okay. If anybody else has any questions, please do. For some reason, Josh did not get the link for the thing, so I'm about to send it to him again. If anybody wants to undo their mic and ask a couple of questions while I quickly see why Josh didn't get the email link. If the students are still on, maybe they can get on and see if anybody has any more questions for them. I swear, technical things have been crazy. Okay. If any parents want to undo their mic and just have a couple of minutes of questions amongst themselves, it's while I find out why Josh is unable to log in.
Yeah, I have a question. So overall, how was your experience at Carnegie? What was your toughest year? Um, did you find your freshman year very tough? Since it's such a different school, it's very challenging. Coming from middle school to high, how is that? Um, how did you adjust, I guess is my question.
Chloe, would you be willing to take this while I look for my CIE referral code? Thank
Yeah,
you.
I can. So I think each part of your years at Carnegie do have its challenges. I think the main challenge for freshman year was getting used to being administered a bunch of tests. For sophomore year, it was trying to level up my commitment to clubs and seeing which clubs I did want to continue and didn't want to continue. And junior year was the sheer workload of it. But I think of all my years, sophomore year was the hardest in terms of both academics and extracurriculars and social life. But I think if you are the type of person to know yourself very well, whether that be with the friends that you have or the type of workload that you want to take on, it's better to get to know yourself to not stress yourself out too much. And I do also think senior year has its challenges, especially in that preliminary stage where we're all balancing our workload and the extracurriculars that we have with college apps. And so that's also why I think everyone should start their college apps before the school year starts.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chloe. Okay, let me see if Josh, are you by any chance on the call now?
Someone mentioned in the chat that some parents were unable to join because the Zoom call
Yeah.
meeting has reached its limits.
Right. I think that now a
So,
few people have left, so I am checking again. And also, this is the not so great thing about technology. There are so many great things, but the not so great is like things conk out and then you're stuck. So I think while my internet was broken, the link did not get through to Josh. So I love that you guys are so chatty. I just resent it to him, so I'm just waiting for him to join also. Hopefully any minute. Let me see if there are any other questions in the chat.
did you have an
Um,
intro prepared for Mr. Crater?
I do. Yeah. I can tell you guys that's a very good idea. Okay. Oh yes. Oh my goodness. I think he's here. Hello, Josh. Hi, Josh. Are you in?
I am
I
in.
see.
Hello, hello.
Hi, I am so sorry. As these guys in the meeting know, my internet completely cut out, and I think it was during that time that the link didn't get to you either.
No
So
problem.
I really apologize. You are just in time. We just finished our other panel, and I was
Awesome.
just about to introduce you. So thank you so
Awesome.
much for being here. We really appreciate it.
For sure.
Um, just a quick introduction about Josh. He works with high school students. First of all, he is with First Step College Prep, and he works with high school students across the greater Houston area to make the college admission process more clear, strategic, and empowering. He helps students build strong resumes, craft authentic applications, and make confident decisions about their future. Since 2022, his students have livestock show and rodeo winners. So again, please welcome Josh to the meeting, and please continue to talk about yourself past what I just said
Oh,
and correct if anything was wrong. But
no, thank you
thank
so
you.
much. No, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, and thank you all so much for having me. Again, my name is Josh Prater, and I am the founder of First Step College Prep. Give me one second. I'll pull up my screen to share here. Let me know when you can see.
We can see it, Josh.
Awesome. All right. So today I'm here and it's really great to be here. And I've had the opportunity to speak to the PTO before in previous sessions. And I'm super excited to be back because today's focus is going to be geared more towards freshman and sophomore preparation for college. And, why starting early is one of the most important things that you can do. Okay. Um, I have a QR code on the screen. If you want to scan that really quickly, you can save my contact info on your phone, and I'll give you all a second to do that. All right. So, we just went through the blurb about me. So I'll skip all this. I do have nearly a decade in college admissions guidance experience, and I am a member of the Texas Association of College Admissions Counselors. So let's pull that up. This is a list of all the schools that my kiddos got into this year. I am super proud. I got my first Division I athlete this year. He's running track at the University of Houston. Super proud of him. He's a really great kiddo. So I've worked with students from freshmen to seniors of all different backgrounds, all different potential majors. So yes. All right. Let's talk about this process. Admissions officers look at the entire spectrum of your high school career, right? Ninth through 12th grade. So there's this almost like a myth or this understanding that the process normally doesn't really start until junior year. And I'm here to dispel that rumor. Okay. This is my best example, along with the help of Chat GPT. It's sort of like parking yourself 80 meters down the track in a 100-meter dash and just kind of saying like, oh, well, I'll just wait to start running when they get here. And by the time they get there, they're going to pass you by, right? You can run as fast as you can. You're not going to catch them. And that's sort of what we're talking about when we start talking about early preparation. So we're going to talk about 4 things today. The first is the reason why families assume that junior year is kind of the starting line. Pardon me. What colleges are looking for before your junior year, and then the cost of waiting. So what becomes hard or really difficult to fix, and then the advantages of starting early and how it fosters success. Okay. So the question, why do so many families assume that, okay, we started junior year and the SAT, is, second semester of junior year. So it just sort of feels like it all hits you at one time, right? So that's the first thing, standardized testing. It often begins this cycle of thinking like, hey, okay, it's time for us to get started and start doing college research. College visits and counselor meetings, like you'll start getting called to your school's college office. You'll start meeting with your counselor a little bit more often. And realistically, when you're a freshman or a sophomore, the application deadlines, they feel so far away. You don't start applying to colleges until the beginning of your senior year. So, I mean, it's totally understandable why those assumptions are there. But again, colleges are looking for the entire story. Okay. So, what do they look for? We're talking about, the quiet things and the not so quiet things and the importance of ninth and 10th grade. Okay. So, if you ask any college admissions counselor what they look for, one of the most important things is academic rigor. Okay. So, your performance in AP courses, college prep courses, IB, dual credit, all of those things. They want to know that you're able to do the difficult work that most universities are going to put in front of you. They want to see that you're building high quality habits. So your grades and your extracurriculars and things that you're doing are going to sort of shape that idea that they have of you from an early starting point. And then again, involvement, right? So what are you becoming involved with early? Because if you're involved with something early, it's going to present additional opportunities in leadership later on. When you start things as freshmen and sophomores, it gives you the opportunity to build an identity and this authenticity, easy for me to say, that colleges are actually looking for. Okay. Any questions about that? Because I want to make sure that like I stop and give you chances to ask questions as I go, because this shouldn't take too long. Cool. All right. So here are the less quiet importance, the less quiet things that are important in ninth and 10th grade. Okay. So course pathways. Now, it is really important that if if you're interested in going into the medical field, like you want to be bio pre-med or chemistry or neuroscience, there are certain classes that you need to take early so that you are able to take them later, right? So without that early rigor and academic difficulty, you may not be able to take an AP bio or an AP statistics course or, AP calculus. So these are all things that we want to make sure that we're addressing early. Leadership roles, again, like I mentioned before, it's really difficult when you get to junior year and you realize like, oh man, I'm kind of slacking on some of my extracurriculars. I really need to pick something up. It's great that you do, and it's great that you're involved, but getting involved late is going to limit your opportunities to look for those leadership positions. And now, when I say leadership, not everybody can be the president of everything, right? Maybe you're an officer, a communications officer, a treasurer, a VP, something like that. But it's good to show universities and colleges that you're willing to get involved and also that you're willing to commit to things over multiple years. You're not just stacking items on your resume to make it appear that you are a super impressive candidate, because they can see through a lot of that stuff. Okay. The other thing that we don't talk enough about is your relationships that you build with your teachers. Okay. Um, it is vital to forge those relationships with teachers. It's, I cannot express the level of difficulty it is for them at that time when it's the beginning of senior year and students go to their teachers and say like, hey, I need you to write me a letter of recommendation. Well, guess what? Like 47 other kiddos have also asked them to write them a letter of recommendation, right? So building those relationships early helps you because you can start to ask for those during your junior year where you'll get a much higher quality response because they're not so pressed for time. Okay. So how can parents support their students in ninth grade? Okay. It's all about establishing foundations and helping students figure out who they are. The adjustment to high school can be extremely difficult and extremely stressful. So I want to make sure that, we're supporting kiddos to the best of our ability. Building a strong academic base, we've already talked about it, taking those courses and exploring those more difficult and advanced coursework, but only when it's appropriate. If your student, may struggle with a subject or two, then, maybe on level coursework is right for them initially, and then maybe we can work up to those more advanced courses later. And we're prioritizing you can do to guide a student with care is prioritizing grades. Obviously, grades are really important. It starts right when you get there. There's no adjustment period, right? You have to be ready to start making good grades from the jump. Choosing 1 to 2 activities that you're going to stick with, not just jam packing your schedule. A lot of that also leads to burnout. Make sure you're tracking your involvement. I actually have an extracurricular activity tracker that I'll share with y'all, that can be dispersed after this meeting. Um, Exploring different electives that might connect to future majors, Business Professionals of America, HOSA, things like that, right? Again, building relationships with teachers. I know I'm hammering that one, but it's very important. And then every summer, try one meaningful summer activity, whether that's volunteering, whether that's going to a camp, whether that's finding your own passion project. All of these things are really important. Okay. Now, as we move forward to 10th grade, um, it's it's continuing to build on that course load and that academic difficulty, and then developing and going for those leadership positions. And then also, this is the time where we need to start looking at college and career exploration. One of the things that I do with the students that I work with is I give them a series of different assessments, that correlate and tie not just to a lot. You see a lot of career assessments, but I'm more specifically focused on major assessments, like what major is going to best fit who you are as an individual. I also like to provide opportunities for, change and flexibility because obviously students change their mind on a regular basis, and that is okay. We really want to support structure and organization. By day, I'm a teacher. I teach a subject called AVID, which one of our biggest principles is organization. And students that are organized are successful. I've never met a student who was very organized that was just like, that just couldn't get their lives together, right? High school can be difficult at times. Being organized is one of the key things that you will carry on to you with your into your college career. Um, so we start talking about things like PSAT practice. Okay. PSAT is while it doesn't count and it's not looked at by colleges, the PSAT, and the NMSQT specifically, the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, is something that will help you potentially with scholarship money. And the better you can do on your PSATs, the more that's going to translate to your SAT. The SAT is coming back. When I say that, I mean, we had COVID. That was a situation where, you couldn't put 200 kiddos in a room and have them test anymore. Now that we've come out of that, a lot of universities are making the SAT a requirement for an application. The University of Texas is doing that now. Alabama, Purdue, a few other big schools are moving to a non-test optional policy. So that's just something that's trending that it looks like is going to be here to stay over the next handful of years. Um, then creating a simple resume of activities and achievements, and then meeting with an advisor, myself or a high school counselor, to map out 11th and 12th grade coursework, what you're going to take, um, and sort of plan out the next 2 years of high school. All right. Let's talk about the cost of waiting. Okay. What becomes harder to fix? I mentioned this before. On the screen, you'll see the things that are in your direct control: your GPA in college prep courses, how difficult your high school curriculum is, your character attributes, and that comes through in a lot of different things, including essays, recommendations, your extracurricular activities. These are all things you have direct control over. And, the earlier you start, the more influence you have in those areas. Having someone to guide you through that is really, really, really important, because the college landscape is becoming more competitive. The University of Texas had over 100,000 applications, and they capped more students this year than they ever have before. If you're unfamiliar with that term, basically it means it's like, we'd love to admit you, but in order to do so, we have to start you at one of our satellite campuses like UT Dallas or UT Arlington, even SFA. They've become part of that program as well. So, and I'm not saying that to like fearmonger or scare anybody, but across the board, decisions are coming later and later because the application pool is deeper and deeper. So it's something to think about for sure. Okay. So what becomes harder or impossible to fix? If you wait till your junior year to start getting everything together, you're losing time for involvement, which I've talked about before. You also have these compressed testing deadlines. So you're going to take likely your first SAT second semester of junior year. There should be ample time to prep for that assessment beforehand, right? So I have access and contact to a bunch of different folks who do really good SAT prep. I also work with a company called Acely. That's It's an AI version of SAT prep, and I've seen some really good progress from students, over 150-point improvements in a couple of cases. Um, and again, like with the testing deadlines, and that just adds an element of stress that's not necessary because it's already going to be stressful. And then rushed essays. One of the things that we do most in my cohort program, which I'll talk to you about, is we do writing. We write a lot. And there's a few reasons for that. The first is I want you to have a true sense of who you are and what you have to offer a university. So we do a lot of self-reflection. Um, a lot of folks think that when you write your college admissions essay, you need to almost guilt them into accepting you because of the things that you've been through or the difficulties that you faced. That is not the case. What they're really looking for is something that's authentic and will help you sort of stand out in a way of like, what can this student tell me about themselves that isn't already on their application? Okay. Um, and the emotional toll is extremely taxing. Okay. We call it the junior year panic cycle and the senior year scramble. Okay. It's extremely difficult when all of your planning for college, all of the extracurriculars you're trying to get into, the testing, all of that stuff piles up. It can be very difficult and honestly demeaning. Like it can really make students feel poorly about themselves academically. They can struggle with motivation. So we really want to help with that and making sure that we're, as prepared as possible. The beginning of your senior year is going to be crazy. The average college student applies anywhere between 6 and 12 colleges. I worked with some students at my high school that applied for over 30 different universities. So, needless to say, you're going to write a lot. You're going to have to provide lots of different ways to talk about yourself. So, we want to make sure, again, by preparing early, we're doing those things. And then the real consequence, it really causes a lot of chaos, and it limits your time to explore and really find the things that you're most passionate about. Okay. So Why it's important to start now? More time equals more opportunity. Okay. And then the more important thing is like lessening that stress load on families altogether because it can be very difficult. Okay. I want to make sure that, you're able to thrive when you have individual guidance in a community that supports you, including your family, including your teachers, including your counselors. So we want to start that process as early as possible. And it is true that early starters do consistently report higher motivation and lower anxiety. Y'all, motivated students are productive students. And one of the things that we do often is something called a motivation or a mindset matrix. And basically, it's to constantly remind yourself, like, what motivates me, what's going to get me to where I need to go. Okay. Just a couple more slides and then I'll open up for questions. So, here's the for lack of a better phrase, the pitch. Like, how can I help you as a freshman or a sophomore? Okay, so starting early is no longer optional. It's the advantage that will help you get the leg up on all of the other applicants. Okay. You're going to have a stronger academic trajectory because you're course planning appropriately. You're looking at, potential pathways that you want to take so you can take advanced coursework where it's necessary. You avoid being locked out of any AP coursework that you might need to take. Okay. Showing that multi-year extracurricular depth will help you show leadership and your ability to show commitment, which is really, really uh, understated when it comes to this process. You're not going through and just filling in a bunch of random volunteer hours, like you're showing commitment. Forming those relationships with teachers, and I encourage students to do that. Um, will get you stronger recommendations, and then working together, we will definitely write some really killer essays. One of the things that I'm most proud of is I actually worked with I'm a twin dad, so I have 5-year-old twin girls. And when you are a parent of twins, what ends up happening is everyone who's also a twin parent somehow finds you and comes out of the woodwork. So I've worked with, I think it's like 8 sets of twins since I've started doing this. And I had a set of twins write 2 of the most incredible essays that I've ever read, and they both won $20,000 rodeo scholarships, which I was super proud of. One of them is at the University of Texas on a full ride, and the other one's at SFA on a full ride. So it's pretty amazing. Um, so what I wanted to talk to you about, the opportunity I wanted to talk to you about today, is my cohort program. So basically, what it is a small group counseling course where we will meet weekly for anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes. And we follow a curriculum that walks you through the process. I offer them for freshmen, for sophomores, for juniors. So right now, what I'm looking to do is fill cohorts that will start in the month of May. Originally, I wanted to shoot for April, but due to a lot of scheduling conflicts and family travel, for people that are interested, it looks like May will be actually when we start. So mid-May to mid-February of junior year. And what I have listed here, and I don't know how well you can see it, it is curriculum based. So every week that you come, you will know exactly what we're working on. So week 1, we obviously have an orientation. And then we'd start looking at building an activity portfolio and then exploring, which colleges are selective, which colleges would be a good reach school, a match school, things like that. Everything from study and time management skills to early scholarship awareness. Planning your summers, we do a lot of that too. So it is very organized. There's a workbook that you get when you sign up that we work through together. And one of the biggest concerns that I get from families is like, well, what if we go on vacation, or what if you can catch up on absolutely anything in the program. If you miss a day or two, or a week or two rather, it's not a big deal. I'm also available, and it says, email and text support in 24 to 48 hours. If I'm awake, I'll answer. I know how important this process is. So it's very important to me to make sure that I'm there to support families and support students in this process. I also offer individualized one-on-one counseling. And I offer 20% discounts for the first 3 months of service. And that it's exclusive access for Carnegie Vanguard families. And that's all I got. I know I just ran through a bunch of stuff in a short period of time, and I apologize for that. But if you are interested in joining a cohort, there is a QR code at the bottom right hand side. If you would scan that QR code, it's going to take you to my website. And I will show you that here really quickly if you don't mind. So it's going to take you to my website. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So, shameless plug, this is my website. Um, when we go to the cohort admissions program, click register now. What that QR code is actually going to send you to is the Carnegie Vanguard office hours, where you can set up a time to meet with me and we can talk about, potentially joining a cohort or doing some one-on-one counseling. Or, I mean, like in the future, if you ever just need help with an essay or whatever the case may be, I'm available to help you. I just want to say real quick as I'm wrapping up, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be a part of what y'all are doing at Carnegie. I mean, y'all consistently are among the top achievers that I've worked with. I'm doing the summer boot camp for college essay writing over the summer as well with y'all. So again, I'm just super grateful for the opportunity, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Josh. We are very grateful for the very amazing service that you provide. In fact, we are um, so inspired by you that you are teaching an essay writing class for our rising seniors this summer.
I am,
So
yes,
we are also endorsing you because we really do think that you have such a good um, finger on this, and I really appreciated everything you said. I couldn't agree more. I especially feel like what you said about kind of having a cohesive story to tell, and a kind of like consistency is really important. And I
for
do think that
sure.
you really highlighted that, and that can be something, I mean, I think that can be something simple, but just a simple story that goes along versus, like you said, a kind of last minute scrambling just to pad a
100%,
resume.
for sure.
So I really appreciate that. I was trying to monitor the chat to see if anybody had any specific questions, but your speech was so perfect.
Well, I appreciate that. I've occasionally been described
I
as
really
having
thought you touched on everything.
oh yeah, no, I've occasionally been described as having golden retriever energy, so I really try and tone it down.
No, I
Um,
thought that was so concise and well put together, honestly. And actually, I had somebody asking in this chat whether you could share your slides, but the meeting is
of course.
recorded and
Yeah.
we will be posting it on our website. But I don't know if you do ever share slides. If you
Yeah,
do,
they're yours. Yeah, I can
oh,
absolutely
thank
do
you.
that. Yeah, for
Thank you
sure.
so much. Because I was going to say, if you don't, the meeting is recorded, but that would be really wonderful. I
Yeah,
just like taking
absolutely.
screenshots myself.
Yeah, cool. No worries. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll send them over to you after the meeting this evening.
Great. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you taking
Hey,
such a big chunk out of your
no,
night to be with
I'm
us.
happy to do it. Happy to do it. Thank you so much, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
We'll chat soon. See ya.
Okay, bye bye. Thank you. Okay, everybody, if by any chance I feel like there was a last minute question that came in. Oh, Jan, I'm sorry. That is a very good question. I don't know if I have any answer for that, but I think Josh left a lot of his information. I'm sure he's very responsive. If you ever want to reach out to him, I do know that he has come and spoken for Carnegie multiple times. And so I'm sure that he has been helpful very much with our students. And like I said, he's even teaching our rising seniors or juniors this summer an essay writing course. So um, if anybody else has any questions, please look at his information and his website and reach out to him. Thank you so much. We did run a little bit over time. I apologize for that. And for anybody who was having trouble getting in, I apologize for that. We had a lot of technical issues, but the whole meeting was recorded and I'll be posting it or one of us will be posting it on our website, and the whole thing should be visible again for any of you who didn't catch the beginning of it or want to rewatch it again. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything. And if you ever need any help, please go on the website and reach out to any of us for any questions. We can always try to answer them or even direct them to where they belong. I appreciate you guys coming and joining. Keep your eyes open for anything else that may come on your calendar regarding any kind of college prep things. I also, for anybody who's still left on the call, want to highlight that we have a few pre-recorded college prep videos. If you go on our website, you will find it on there that you can watch at your own discretion. And they really are really, really good. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone. Good night.